Northern Vietnam, from the busy streets of the nation's capital to unmatched scenic natural landscapes, this is one part of the country you do not want to miss. Welcome to my ultimate guide for how to spend the perfect week in Northern Vietnam.
I'm working on my foreign voice.
Hello from Hanoi, Vietnam. Today is the first day of the Vietnam portion of my adventure. This is actually the longest leg of my travels through Asia. I was actually supposed to start my Vietnam adventure yesterday, but I made a very expensive mistake. And I'm going to tell you all about it now so that the same thing does not happen to you. Unfortunately, there was a lot of conflicting information online when it came to the Vietnam visa requirements. I believe that they changed really recently, and that's why things contradicted each other online. But the truth of the matter is you absolutely need to apply for your visa in advance. You cannot get a visa on arrival unless you have very special circumstances. So make sure you apply for your visa 4 or 5 days, maybe even more in advance online, so you don't have the very expensive hit that I had when I realized I had to spend an extra day in Laos to apply for my visa. It's definitely embarrassing, and I am not happy that that happened. However, we moved past it. We're now here in Vietnam, and I am so ready to explore this beautiful country. That man really almost ended my life. I have my wide angle lens on, so I don't think you can tell on camera how close that bike got to running me over. But successfully crossed my first Vietnam street. I am very excited about my first stop of the day. I wanted to get some coffee, and I found the perfect place to do so. This is the Note Coffee, and you can see the walls, the ceilings, the fan, the lights, everything is covered in sticky notes. It's so sweet. There is a little box of blank sticky notes. They all have cute designs on them, and you can leave your own notes. You can put them wherever. There's some on the air conditioner hanging out the window. It's really fun, and just sitting here with a coffee and reading all the notes is really, really enjoyable. While the menu here is quite extensive, it did say that the iced coconut coffee is the best seller, and it seems to be what everyone else is ordering, so I had to go for it.
I don't take it in big numbers. I could get used to this kind of hunger. Everyone deserves a lonesome slumber, so I don't take it in big numbers.
This is St. Joseph's Cathedral. It is a late 19th century neo-Gothic Catholic cathedral and one of the oldest Catholic churches in all of Vietnam. It does look like it's unfortunately closed at the moment, so I don't think I can go inside, but even just looking at the facade is really, really incredible. I'm just walking down the street right next to the cathedral, kind of walking the length of it, and it's so beautiful. There's all these trees, and you can see the cathedral architecture between the trees. Really, really cool.
Small doses, little tastes are all I need. Small doses are all it takes to feel the release. And like little roses get replaced, I'll wipe my slate clean until these small doses get a hold of me.
These small plastic stools are extremely iconic. You'll see them everywhere. I think pretty much most restaurants have people eating out on these smaller stools on the street. I think I'm getting there with the crossing the street. I've heard that you have to just commit and keep an even pace, which I think I've been doing. So far, 100% success rate. One thing that I really wanted to make sure that I saw while here in Hanoi was Hoa Lo Prison. This prison was built in 1896 by French colonists. It was initially used for mainly Vietnamese political prisoners. Then later, during the Vietnam War, this prison was used by the North Vietnamese to detain American prisoners of war. It earned the nickname Hanoi Hilton, so you may have heard it referred to as that, but the official name is Hoa Lo Prison. While this obviously is not the most cheery stop here in Hanoi, I do think it's really important to see the country's history as much as possible. The exhibit there is actually quite intricate. I didn't film everywhere. I was also trying to make sure I was being as respectful as possible. I, of course, made sure to get permission before I filmed. I definitely think it's worth a visit. There's a lot more than I just showed on camera. There's an exhibit from the initial French colonial period, and then there's also a separate exhibit that details the Vietnam War and what the prison looked like during those two different times, because at least according to the prison, it sounds like it was very different. It is noisy and chaotic, and I am so excited for my next stop. We are going to the iconic, the famous Train Street here in Hanoi. If you're unfamiliar, Train Street is a beautiful, very narrow street here in Hanoi where a train does indeed pass right through the center of it. So I'm actually just walking down a little alleyway street parallel to Train Street because there's sort of a mini scam that goes on with Train Street that I want to warn you all about. My understanding is that what has happened is that some of the coffee shops, cafes that are along Train Street have hired police officers to tell you that the street is closed and that it's illegal to walk down the street unless you go to their coffee shop. I did just pass a whole group of what I think are cops. Maybe fake cops? I don't know. So I did my research. I found one coffee shop called 65 Railway Coffee that actually will tell you the train times for the day if you send them a message on WhatsApp. And you can reserve a table with them so you can know exactly when the train is coming at this one spot. And the person that I've been messaging with said that they will come and meet me if I send them a message, if anyone tries to give me a hard time.
I won't tell you that I like it. I could get used to this kind of quiet.
Clearly we have to rush because the woman that I have been WhatsApping with came and got me, which I really appreciate. And she's running, so I am also running.
Maybe I'll even start to buy it, and I'll forget how much I like it.
It certainly was a rush, but we've clearly made it because I have at least 1 minute to stand on the tracks, but I should probably get out of the way. The woman who's been helping me out, my buddy today, has told me that I should actually hop over to the other side of the tracks because it's better for footage.
Small doses, little tastes are all I need. Small doses are all it takes to feel the release. And like winter roses get replaced, I'll wipe my slate clean until these small doses get a hold.
Well, I can't say I've really experienced anything quite like that before. Because I have this lovely seat here at this cafe, I get to try my very first Vietnamese egg coffee. So I read that egg coffee was invented back in the 1940s when milk was scarce in Vietnam. It was replaced in coffee with egg yolk. Well, that was a huge success. The train is really, really cool to see, and you're very, very close to it when you're sitting here on Train Street. I highly, highly recommend messaging that same cafe on WhatsApp. The woman was so sweet. I mean, she was even telling me where to get the best photos from. She was just awesome. Now I'm gonna head back to my hostel for a bit, and I think that the best way to get there is on the back of a motorbike.
When I get bored like I know I will, I'll trade this in for a different pill, and you can watch me try to bend, watch me try to break. When my arms get tired of holding these poses,
There's nothing quite like Hanoi traffic witnessed from the back of a motorbike at rush hour.
Small doses, little taste are all I need. Small doses are all it takes to feel the relief.
I am sitting here at one of the street side restaurants here in the old town. It is so noisy and chaotic and beautiful. I have decided it's time for me to order my first pho here in Vietnam, and it looks so good. Sitting here on the street is so great for people watching. You have all kinds of tourists and people who live here. There are people selling things. There is a guy singing karaoke, walking up and down the street with a speaker. It's a lot going on, and it's really good to watch while eating. I kind of just went randomly to one of the places on the street here. There are so many, and as you walk through the streets of the old town, many people will try to lure you into their restaurants with big menus, walking up to you. I think they're probably all pretty similar, but the one that I went to was really good, and the staff were really, really nice. And the people watching was top tier. The old quarter here in Hanoi is such a fascinating place. It is so crowded, so busy. There are bright lights and motorbikes and horns honking, people screaming. It is really just so energetic. I decided I wanted some dessert, so I stopped for mango sticky rice with coconut ice cream. And the rice is green, which I've never seen before. This was an incredible, jam-packed first day in Vietnam, and I have to say, Hanoi is already one of my favorite cities I've visited. It is so electric and alive and energetic here. I just love it. Good morning from Hanoi, Vietnam. Today I'm headed off on a very popular day trip to Ha Long Bay. Now, this is actually something that some people do as a 2-night, 3-night trip, but my time is super limited, so I'm going for a very long one-day tour, and right now I'm about to catch the bus. I believe it's about 2 or 3 hours, and I'm actually following my tour guide who is on a motorbike, and I'm walking, so I gotta go. We have made it here to Ha Long City. We have a little bit of time before we can actually get on the boat. The majority of the day is going to be a cruise, which I'm very excited about. But first we have stopped at a pearl farm. I will say this is one of those tour stops that feels a little bit more focused on trying to convince us tourists to buy something than to really teach us about the pearl process, which is not a bad thing. But if you know me, then you know I'm more likely to spend my money on travel than jewelry. So I don't think I will be buying any pearls today.
My baby got a job at the TSA. All he ever does is watch planes fly away. 'Cause since his lady left, he's counting down the rest. So my baby got a job at the TSA.
We just boarded the boat and immediately had lunch. It's family style, so you sit at tables of 6. We had a lot of different kinds of Vietnamese food. We had fish and chicken and shrimp and rice and spring rolls, lots of things. It was really yummy. And now I'm gonna check out the upstairs deck. Ha Long actually means descending dragon, and it comes from this old myth that a dragon descended on this area and created all of the rock formations that you see here today. Amazingly, it's not crazy windy. I think we're not going too fast, which is kind of nice. When I was choosing which tour to go with, there were two that I was choosing between that I could book at my hostel, and the guy said, one is a party one is a chill one. So I went for the chill one, and I would say it's actually very, very chill. Like, people aren't really talking to each other.
This life's a loaded gun. This heart's a lonely one. But if it knew what it was hiding from, maybe it would run.
Now, I haven't memorized the full itinerary for the day, but I know that Pearl Farm and lunch were the first two of a few different activities we have. The one that I'm most excited about is riding on a boat through a cave. I think that sounds really awesome, and I've never done that before. You can actually choose between riding the bamboo boat and kayaking yourself. I just decided to go with the bamboo boat because it sounded really cool, and I of course want to be able to take videos for you all. I think there is some swimming you can do as well, but it's not the hottest day, so I don't know if it's maybe too cold. I'm really going with the flow. I did not do a ton of research before booking this cruise because there are so many other parts of this trip that I have been heavily researching, and it's kind of nice to just go with the flow. We are now arriving at the largest cave in all of Ha Long Bay. This is Sung Sot Cave, which translates to surprising cave. As you can probably see by the number of people behind me, we're in a very long line. Up the side of a cliff though, which is a cool place to wait in a line. So I did make it up to the entrance to the cave. Definitely good to know. A lot of people here, lots of tourists taking lots of photos. Just be ready for that. I'm curious how claustrophobic the cave might feel, but it's supposedly the largest in Ha Long Bay, so maybe it'll be big enough for all of us.
Baby goes to church every Wednesday afternoon. Circle talks, a whiskey walk from the truth. Someone's gotta help him down, and then maybe back around. But my baby goes to church every Wednesday afternoon.
The camera is definitely not going to do justice to just how large this cave is. There are multiple chambers, and the nice thing is once you get past the first section, the tourist flow does spread out a bit because it's just so large. It really doesn't feel claustrophobic to me at all. It's really amazing how well lit it is. Obviously there's a lot of electric lights, but I don't think I've ever been in a cave that has natural light peeking in as much as this one does. I think we're just coming around to the exit now. It is a one-way system, so you don't have people trying to go both ways on the small walkways, which is very nice. Pretty incredible as you're exiting to have the cave on one side of you and the beautiful bay on the other. Just seeing both at once is so bizarre and fascinating. Just to share some final thoughts on the cave. It was one of those experiences where my attitude really did a 180. I feel like at first I was a bit overwhelmed by the crowds and the line, but for whatever reason the crowds thinned out and there was a lot more space inside the cave than I would have thought. And it was really cool. It's just such an incredible place to be and kind of bizarre to wrap your head around the idea that it's all natural.
This life's a loaded gun.
Oh my gosh.
This heart's a lonely one.
Thank you.
But if it knew what it was hiding from, maybe it would run.
I have switched to the GoPro because we are switching from the big boat to a smaller one. I believe I'm about to get on a rowboat and go through a cave. But first, I have to find a life jacket. All right, I have discovered the downside to doing the boat instead of the kayaks. There's a monkey over there, but it's too far away to see.
Dead by a deadline, white line goodbyes. One more chance to leave or be left. Now could be the right time. He's out on the sidelines, holding his own haunted breath.
That was really cool. I was really lucky that I got a seat in the front of the boat, especially for that point of view as you're going through the cave. We are here at the last stop of the day, which is T-Top Island. There are two main things to do here. There's a little hike to a viewpoint, and then there's, of course, the beach. Because this is just a day tour, everything is kind of rapid fire, so each of our stops have been about maybe 45-50 minutes, whereas I imagine if you do a 2 or 3 night cruise, you get to spend a lot more time at each of these places. I did walk over here to the entrance to the little hike. However, I'm realizing that I don't actually have that much time. My decision is also quite influenced by the number of tourists currently going up these stairs. There just seems to be a little bit more space on the beach. In some ways, the landscape here kind of reminds me of my time in Coron in the Philippines. Granted, that was 2 years ago, so it's possible that a lot has changed since then. And both are very touristic places, but I feel like this is much more crowded. But maybe I'm wrong about that. You can see lots of different cruises here. There are all different sizes of boats, which really speaks to Ha Long Bay being kind of a choose your own adventure sort of travel experience. I obviously only had time for a day trip, but I think that doing the overnight cruises would be really cool. If you're interested in doing a day trip like I did, honestly, you can book through pretty much any hostel or any tour group. I don't really think that one is different from the other. I'm just guessing. My advice would be to bring a bathing suit, bring some snacks. You do get lunch, but there's no dinner included on this tour. Make sure you have a book for the bus. It's a really long ride. If you do a day tour like mine, you can expect to pay around $55 US. That's what I paid. I'm sure there are slight fluctuations of price, but I think that's roughly standard. Our guide just said that on the top deck there is a tea party, so we're gonna go check that out, and I think the sun is just going down at the same time.
This life's a loaded gun. This heart's a lonely one. But if it knew what it was hiding from, maybe it would run. My baby got a job at the TSA. All he ever does is watch planes fly away.
The bus just dropped me back here in Hanoi. I'm right by the old quarter, so I'm gonna get back to my hostel and call it an early night, because tomorrow morning is the start of another adventure here in Vietnam. I am going to be tackling the very famous Giang Loop. I couldn't be more excited about that. I am currently on a 5-hour-long sleeper bus journey from Hanoi to Giang because tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. I am attempting the Giang Loop. If you're unfamiliar, the Giang Loop is a very popular motorbike route in northern Vietnam. I have booked a tour that starts tomorrow, and it's 2 nights and 3 days. And I'm going to be spending those 3 days on the back of a motorbike. This is actually my first time on a sleeper bus. These seats are very nice. There aren't that many people on the bus. There is no bathroom though, hence the pit stop. But the whole ride is only about 5 hours, or at least it's supposed to only be 5 hours in total. The driver also requested that we all take our shoes off, and he had slippers for us waiting at the front door when we got off the bus at the rest stop. I've made it here to Giang City. The bus ride was pretty easy. All in all, it was 6 hours long with one 10-minute stop for snacks and a 20-minute stop for dinner. Even though it was the sleeper bus, I wouldn't plan on getting too much sleep. Our bus driver seemed to have some sort of side hustle going on. He was picking up some local passengers that he knew and talking quite loudly. He also was picking up some packages. I don't really know what was going on there. None of my business. And the only other thing to note is that the USB ports in the seats didn't work. I don't say any of this to complain, just to let you all know if you're taking a trip like this to plan accordingly. Well, good morning. It is 8 a.m. I just checked in. I paid for my tour. There are a few different ways you can do the Giang Loop. You can, of course, rent a motorbike and drive it yourself. However, it is a very dangerous road, and that is not recommended unless you are very experienced driving through Southeast Asia. So I have hired a driver. It's called an Easy Rider, and I think it's going to be a very, very safe, cool version of this tour. Behind me, everyone is getting suited up. We're getting our helmets. We're getting our drivers. I just met my driver. His name is Sai. He seems great. And I'm pretty much going to be spending every waking moment with him for the next 3 days. So what they've done is they have taken my smaller backpack, not my full bag for the 2 months of travel, but I've put what I need for the next couple days in there, and it is now bungee corded to the back of the motorbike. And hopefully it will stay on the motorbike for the next 3 days. So we just were briefly stopped by the cops so that our drivers could take breathalyzer tests. And they all passed, so.
I've been sitting on a highway, watching cars go by.
We've only been driving for about half an hour so far, but we have come to our first stop. This is a little coffee shop rest stop on the side of the road with a pretty incredible view.
Thinking living in the fast lane could have kept me from hitting rewind. Oh, these hands of mine, how they tell the time. All alone, sometimes I slipped away. And as I moved around, I swore I liked the sound, but I just can't get myself to say the name.
We're here at another rest stop. At least so far, it seems like the stops are pretty frequent because it's still pretty early into the trip, but these views are just unmatched. Thank you. I hope you can hear me all right over the sound of the waterfall. It is so beautiful here. I am a little bit regretting not getting my bathing suit from the back of the motorbike. However, it's quite cold, and I think when I get back on the bike, I will be very grateful to be dry. I was so bummed that I didn't manage to film any of the goats that we passed on the bike, and now we've stopped at a rest stop and I see some walking towards me. All right, it's time for lunch. After lunch was our longest stretch on the bike, so I decided to treat myself to a little coconut milk coffee, and it is delicious. I think this might be my favorite rest stop so far. There are hammocks, there's a swing, as always there's an incredible view, and it just feels so nice.
A lot of things can feel like summer. Blue skies, a warm rain. It's so easy to hold on to what you know is gonna change.
The views keep getting crazier and crazier. It's golden hour and we just made it to this incredible viewpoint. It's just so unbelievable to look back and think that we were on that road a few minutes ago. It looks so small and far away.
All these hands of mine, how they tell the time. All alone, sometimes I slipped away.
Throughout the day, I'd say that we've stopped maybe every 20-30 minutes. It's actually been much more frequent stopping than I would have expected, but it's been really nice and it's been a good chance to chat with my group members and get to know everybody. There are 7 of us in the group, which is a really nice size. I believe this was our last stop and now we're headed to the hostel.
And as I moved around, I swore I liked the sound, but I just can't get myself to say the name. When were you out of the blue, and how did you stay? 'Cause I've been strong, but this moving on has guided me astray.
First day, yeah.
Day 1 is officially done, or at least the driving portion anyway. We've arrived here at our homestay for the first of 2 nights on this tour. I thought that I'd be so ready to get off the bike by the end of all this driving, but it was so much fun. I can't wait to do it again tomorrow.
These hands of mine, how they tell the time. All alone, sometimes I slipped away. And as I moved around, I swore I liked the sound, but I just can't get myself to say the
We
name.
say 1, 2, 3 rộ. 2, 3 rộ.
Are you ready? Yeah! Every night we say 1, 2, 3 rộ. 1, 2, 3 rộ. 2, 3 rộ. 2, 3 rộ. 2, 3 rộ rộ rộ. 2, 3 rộ rộ rộ. 2, 3 1. 2, 3 1. Cheers!
Good morning from Due Gia, North Vietnam. I'm gonna need some Vietnamese people to help me with my pronunciation on that. It is day 2 of the Giang Loop tour and I am so excited to get back on the bike. I really thought that I would be exhausted from a whole day of biking, but it's just so fun. Last night we got into the homestay around 5 o'clock. The sun went down. I got to hang out with the other people on the tour. We went for a walk in the town. We ate an amazing dinner at the homestay. We did some karaoke. It was a very fun night and we all got to bed by 11 p.m. So I got a full night's sleep and now it's time for breakfast and day 2.
They're writing songs for New York and I'm losing relations. They're working through all of her chords. I'm on permanent vacation. But I wonder about the melody she's making.
We're starting our day here at the Due Gia weekly market. It's full of locals and then other tourists doing the Giang Loop like us. I really love how bright all the clothes are, both the clothes being sold and what the local people are wearing. It's so pretty and it's just so nice to see so much color.
But I spend a little too long just contemplating.
It's definitely a little bit chaotic with the motorbikes honking and driving straight through the center of where people are walking. So you have to stay vigilant and pay attention to where you're going. We've just arrived here at our first rest stop of the day. I think that may have been my favorite stretch of road so far. It was just so beautiful. The sun is shining. We got so lucky with the weather today. That stretch was also really smooth. There weren't a lot of potholes and our drivers are so skilled at avoiding the potholes when there are some. So it just felt really nice. It feels weird to say that riding through the Giang Loop on the back of a motorbike can be so peaceful and relaxing, but that is how it feels, or at least some of the time it feels that way.
What would I do with the news that everything I've done can be put to use? If that's true, then I've got nothing to lose.
So there's a truck right in front of us, and it's a very small road, so I don't know what happens now.
They're writing songs for New York and they're climbing the ladder, moving towards some high reward cause they wanted it better.
It's delivering cows, live cows.
So I wonder about the heights I haven't reached. Then I spend a little too long in my questioning. What would I do with the news that everything I've done can be put to use? If that's true, then I've got nothing to lose. Nothing to lose.
Okay, now I understand why you do not do this if you're an inexperienced driver. This is officially the craziest thing I've ever done in my life. I'm afraid that the GoPro did not capture just how insane that road was. It was a 45-degree angle downhill with these crazy twists and turns on this skinny little road, and just at the side of the road was a huge drop-off and the most beautiful views. It was a lot to take in. My whole body was so tense trying not to fall off the bike, but it was amazing. We are now going to have a relaxing moment on a bamboo raft. just switched bamboo rafts because this one is shallower and so it can go into the cave. Oh jeez. The shoes that I borrowed are quite slippery and I did almost just wipe out and fall off of the bamboo raft, but I didn't.
Ooh, this cut is gonna bruise. Ooh, turn purple, yellow, blue.
We just had lunch with this incredible view out the window, and now I'm sitting on the roof of this building with my coconut coffee, which I've become a bit addicted to on this trip. They're so good. I have to say how good the food has been on the Giang Loop tour. It's pretty much been the same meal every time, but each time we have it, it's better. I would have thought I'd be sick of it by now. Typically, there's some kind of brothy soup, rice, chicken, tofu, beef, lots of veggies, fried noodles, and French fries randomly. But it's all so good.
Long before I'm through. Ooh, wanting a life that I didn't choose.
We've just stopped here on the side of the road because we are about to tackle the Ma Pi Lang Pass. Supposedly, it's one of the most beautiful parts of the entire Giang Loop. I'm so excited. So if I have this right over my finger is China.
Here we can see the Chinese border with Vietnamese.
We've just stopped again to get a closer look at the Vietnam-China border, which is in the distance over there. And now it's time for our very last stop of the day, our homestay. That's a wrap on day 2 of the Giang Loop. We are here in Dong Van, which is a very different vibe from last night. Tonight we're in what feels much more like a city in a hotel. Last night we were in a very small town in a homestay. It's really cool to get to have 2 totally different nighttime experiences here. I have about 20 minutes until the sun fully sets, so I'm gonna do some exploring and then we're gonna have hot pot for dinner. This might sound crazy, but there's something about this place that reminds me of Andorra. It's some mixture of the stone architecture and the mural and the mountains. I'm not crazy, I promise.
What would I do with the news
Good morning. It is day 3, our final day of this incredible Giang Loop experience. We're back in the old town here in Dong Ban this morning to get some bun cha, which is very traditional local noodle soup for breakfast. Last night we stayed here in Dong Ban in a hotel/homestay. We got some great hot pot for dinner, and then we witnessed a celebration. I don't know what else to call it. There was a bonfire, there was dancing, there was singing of Vietnamese patriotic songs. Everyone was in a great mood. It was really cool to experience. Apparently it happens here every Saturday, or so our tour guide told us. And now we are getting back on the bikes for our final few hours here on the Giang Loop.
I heard from some celebrity talking about therapy, how it don't come easily, holding back her honesty. I know I wear it on my face, feelings I cannot erase, thoughts that lack a hiding place. Your lips, they know the bitter taste, and now I can see why some people, they choose not to speak.
Well, this is intense. It's so quiet up here. There really is this amazing contrast between the intensity of being on these bikes so fast on these small roads and then these quiet moments in nature. We just had a longer stretch of driving without a break, and we did witness an accident. Luckily, it didn't look like it was too bad. The 2 people got up and they seemed okay. But I wanted to mention it because this is the second one that we've witnessed. The first was the first night, and it was 2 local people that I think swerved to miss a dog. And this one was on a much bigger road on a pretty steep decline. So it's just a good reminder to not drive this yourself as a tourist. I really, really think that you should hire a driver. It's dangerous, and it's really important to prioritize safety, obviously for yourself and also everyone else on the road. So I don't say this to deter you from doing the Giang Loop, but to make sure that you do it carefully. So we're at another rest stop, and there is a game that all of the drivers play at each of these rest stops. And it's kind of like hacky sack, but instead of a little beanbag, it's a birdie, like in badminton.
My mind would try to suffocate, bare its teeth and scare away, putting nothing on display. I know I wore that muscle out, biting tongue and closing mouth, and now the language won't allow keeping it all in the house. And so you can see why your reticence is so hard for me.
We stopped for a delicious lunch, and now we are here at yet another breathtaking viewpoint. This viewpoint is called Heaven's Gate, and I can definitely understand why. It is beyond gorgeous. I think it might be my favorite one, although it's really, really hard to pick. They're all just breathtaking. A couple of things to note about the rest stops along the Giang Loop. First of all, there are so many of them. You will not be stranded without a place to get coffee or a bathroom. But I will say, most of the bathrooms do not have toilet paper or hand soap, so it's really important to make sure you have some tissues on you as well as some hand sanitizer. Even though you, of course, have your backpack with you on the back of the motorbike, it is wrapped up and tied down, so it's not super easy or convenient to get things in and out of it throughout the day. I would recommend either having zippered pockets like I do, or a crossbody or bum bag. That would be really helpful to have things like hand sanitizer, tissues, money, your phone, cameras, etc.
The windows of the world look down on what we shouldn't speak about. Ties they say can't be unwound. How the past relates to now. Still the filter's coming off. My words will have to pay the cost. This open door will stay unlocked. Fight all that I.
We're only 34 kilometers from Hajong City, and I'm sad because I don't want this to be over.
And then they will see why my breath runs away with me.
We're at another little traffic stop. Not really sure what's happening. So if you're wondering why the big crowd of bikes and cars that we're walking through, the answer is landslides. So I don't know what happens now, or if we make the 5 p.m. bus back to Hanoi. They have shut down the entire road, and there are people waiting on both sides because of landslides. All right, it looks like they're opening it back up, so we gotta run back to our bikes.
All that I can do to keep from overstating everything is hope that you're not following, listening when I sing.
Beep beep, beep beep indeed. We're about 13 miles from the city and the bus leaves in 1 hour. I think we'll be fine. Nothing like a little added drama to finish this insane weekend.
For every liberty I take, I promise you my mind will pay. The piece of my own heart will break with every smile I can't fake.
We're about to cross the road, but I'm scared. I made it. We are just 10 minutes away from where the bus is picking us up, and our leader Peter stopped to show us that he filmed everything this weekend and made us a little video. That was so cute. I'm emotional. I can't believe that this trip has come to an end. Sai and I are back on the bike for the last time. Thank you. We successfully made it on the bus. It's the 5 o'clock bus. I believe it gets into Hanoi at midnight, and it's my first proper full-sized sleeper bus because the one on the way to Hajong was more of a van. This is full sleeper bus experience. So I'm kind of excited. I said goodbye to my driver, Sai. I'm gonna miss him. He kept me safe all weekend. He was amazing. It was just an incredible, incredible weekend. I have made it here to my next destination in Vietnam, which you will see a video from next week. But I did want to wrap up this incredible Giang Loop experience before I end this video. For cost breakdown, my tour, which was the 2-night, 3-day tour, was $185. That also included a night before the tour started in a hostel in Hajong City. I also paid $15 US each way for the buses from and to Hanoi. I booked this tour with BB's. There are so many tour companies and they all offer something a little bit different, but the essential experience is the same. I really enjoyed my tour group. My tour leader, Peter, was incredible. My driver, Sai, was incredible. I felt super safe and really lucky that the other 6 people on my tour were just incredible. And if they're watching this, shout out to my fellow tour members. All in all, this was just an incredible experience and truly one of my favorite things that I have done on this entire trip. So I can't recommend it enough, but I will just say one more time, this is dangerous. Please don't drive it yourself. Please do an Easy Rider and make sure that you go with a well-reviewed, safe company. Like I mentioned, I have a lot more on the way, so make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. And as always, the music in this video, like with all my videos, is my own original music. I've linked it in the video description, and you can also listen to it wherever you get music online by searching for me, Claire Hawkins. Thank you so much for coming along for this unreal adventure. Honestly, I want to come back and do it again. This was so much fun. I'll talk to you soon.
I'm working on my forehead.